Picture this. You're sitting upstairs at your parents' house, and you're just crying so hard, you literally can't tell what is coming out of your eyes and what is coming out of your nose.
Oh man, that is a rough visual.
Right. And, you've been turning down these six-figure job offers to chase this massive entrepreneurial dream. But the reality, you are making exactly $300 a month.
Wow. 300.
Yeah. You are surviving on canned beans mixed with olive oil.
Ugh, the classic struggle meal.
Exactly. And you're too embarrassed to even go out with your friends because, you literally cannot afford a $20 dinner. And you've just hung up the phone with your business partner after saying 3 devastating words. Danny, I quit.
That is the absolute definition of hitting rock bottom. It's the exact moment where the dream completely shatters and reality just totally crushes you.
Yeah, it really is. And today, our mission for this deep dive is to explore how you actually bounce back from that kind of profound failure. We are extracting the ultimate shortcut to cutting through life's noise and, business mediocrity. We're diving deep into the core concepts from Evan Carmichael's book, Your One Word.
It's such a powerful book.
It really is. The overarching premise here is that the secret to success, whether you are launching a side hustle or just trying to navigate a chaotic life, is finding a single defining core value that drives absolutely every decision you make.
Right, and it's worth mentioning that Evan's story didn't actually end with him quitting at his parents' house.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, he woke up the next day and he realized he would still want to run his business even if he wasn't getting paid. So he dragged himself back to work. He discovered his true core value, leaned into it entirely, and went from living below the poverty line to eventually signing NASA and Johnson & Johnson as major clients.
That is an insane pivot.
It's wild because this concept isn't just about, coming up with some catchy marketing slogan. It is a complete operating philosophy. Look at the original Fortune 500 list from 1955. Today, only 13% of those companies still exist.
Wait, really? 87% of the biggest, most powerful companies in the world just vanished.
Faded into complete obscurity.
Yeah.
They became boring. They lost their core relevancy because they stopped standing for something that people actually cared about.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can look inward to find what this one word is for you, we have to establish why it matters so much outwardly. We live in an insanely noisy world.
Extremely noisy.
Right, and the way we cut through that noise ties directly into the evolution of how we sell ourselves and our ideas. There is this clear progression here in the source material. It goes feature selling, benefit selling, and finally, core selling.
Yeah, so feature selling is basically the baseline, right? It's the mechanics of what you do. You tell people your sheets have a 1,200 thread count or your car gets 34 miles per gallon.
Just the dry specs.
Exactly. You are just listing technical data points.
And then, maybe you read a couple of marketing blogs and you graduate to benefit selling. You stop selling the drill and start selling the hole in the wall, as they say.
Right. Classic marketing 101.
Yeah. So instead of talking about thread count, you say you'll get the best night's sleep of your life, or you'll save tons of money on gas.
And benefit selling definitely works better, but it is wildly fragile. 99% of the world operates on features or benefits. If you are competing purely on sleep quality and a competitor drops their price by like 10%, your customers are just gone.
I jump ship instantly.
Zero loyalty, which is what brings us to the highest level, and that's core selling. This is where you lead entirely with your one word.
Let me try an analogy here to make this tangible for everyone listening. Selling features is, it's like listing your exact height and your job title on a dating profile.
Yep.
Selling benefits is saying, I'll buy you dinner and hold the door for you. But core selling is sharing that obscure indie movie that always makes you cry, or like the ridiculous joke that makes you laugh uncontrollably. It's the actual soul connection.
I love that. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that soul connection explains one of the greatest corporate turnarounds in history. Steve Jobs returning to Apple in 1997.
Oh, this is such a good example.
It really is. Apple was losing $1 billion a year at that point. They were months away from bankruptcy and had burned through, I think, 3 different CEOs. When Jobs came back, he saw Apple dying because they were basically fighting Microsoft on bits and megahertz.
Which is classic feature selling.
Exactly. So he gave this legendary speech to his staff where he explicitly stated that marketing is about values. He pointed to Nike. Nike sells a commodity, right? They sell shoes. But in their ads, they don't talk about air soles or why their stitching is better than Reebok's.
Right. They honor great athletes.
Yes. Jobs pivoted Apple to core selling on the spot. He decided that Apple's core value was the belief that people with passion can change the world.
And that pivot changed everything. Because people need to know who you are and what you stand for before they will ever really buy into your vision.
Completely saved Apple.
But it works for tiny local businesses too, not just tech giants. Take Jay's flower shop from the book.
Yeah.
The floral industry is absolutely brutal. Margins are squeezed by massive supermarkets. Online competition is fierce. And, well, flowers are a luxury that people immediately cut when the economy dips.
Yeah, it's a tough market to survive in.
Jay was really struggling to survive until he had this profound realization. He wasn't actually selling flowers. His one word was calm.
Calm, I like that.
Right. He loved flowers because they brought him peace when he was stressed. And once he embraced calm, it dictated every single choice he made. The store layout, the tempo of the music, the scents in the air, the charities he supported, everything projected calm.
That is so smart.
He stopped competing on the price of a $19 online bouquet and instead created a destination haven for people who desperately needed peace in their day. He built an intensely loyal customer base that price shoppers could never touch.
So, knowing that core selling is the ultimate goal, how do you actually find that magic word for yourself? The ancient Greeks called it "know the Saton, know thyself."
Which sounds like a lovely, philosophical idea, but it's actually a grueling excavation project. It's like trying to find the foundation of a house while you're still living inside it.
It really is hard work. You have to look for the connective tissue in your life. There are 5 core questions you can ask yourself to start digging. First, what are your favorite movies? Second, what are your favorite books? Third, who are your closest friends? Fourth, what hobbies do you obsess over? And fifth, who are the teachers or bosses you actually respected?
So you aren't just listing titles.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
When you list these out, you are looking for the underlying theme that ties them all together.
Got it. So if your favorite movie is Gladiator, and your favorite book is a biography of Joan of Arc, and your best friends are all, outspoken activists, your word might be courage, or maybe justice.
Precisely. But sometimes looking at what you love isn't enough. Often you really have to look at what you absolutely despise. What's fascinating here is how negative experiences directly birth our most powerful, positive driving forces.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, look at Richard Sheridan. He built a custom software company called Menlo Innovations, which is a massive, multi-million-dollar business today. But his motivation didn't come from a pure love of software. It came from a deep hatred of the traditional culture in his industry.
Because programming is notorious for the death march, right? Like pulling all-nighters, skipping vacations, eating terrible food, just suffering through a massive project to hit some arbitrary deadline.
Exactly. Richard hated that misery so intensely that he decided his company's entire mission would be the exact opposite. His one word became joy.
Joy in software development, that's definitely unique.
Right. He designed the entire business around returning joy to software development, both for his programmers and the end users. We also see the roots of this one word forming in childhood, deeply connected to our parents.
Like Dheeraj Pandey, right?
Yes. Dheeraj founded Nutanix, building it into a billion-dollar enterprise infrastructure company, a very dry, highly technical field. But he grew up in India, where his parents insisted on caring for beggars on the street.
They instilled in him the belief that giving to others brings good back to you.
Exactly. So he took that childhood lesson and made his word empathy. And he institutionalized it. He pays 100% of his team's health care. He doesn't bean count their vacation days.
Doesn't he walk away from deals over this too?
Oh, yeah. He will literally walk away from a lucrative partnership if the potential partner uses the word "I" too much in conversation. He turned empathy into massive financial success because he actually lived it.
Okay, so let's say you've done the excavation. You've answered the 5 questions, you've looked at your childhood, and you found your word. Maybe it's joy, maybe it's empathy. But the second you find it, human nature makes you want to hide it.
Oh, absolutely. The internal resistance is immediate.
Right. There are 4 limiting beliefs that will try to crush your word before you even use it. First, it's too bold. Second, what will others think? Third, someone else is already doing it. And fourth, it's too simple.
Marie Rodale faced that first fear head-on. She's the CEO of Rodale Publishing, a giant media company. She did the work and realized her guiding business word was love.
That is bold for a corporate environment.
Very bold. She was terrified to tell her corporate board. She assumed they'd just laugh her out of the room, thinking love was way too fluffy for serious corporate strategy.
So what changed her mind?
Well, she kept it hidden until she heard Howard Schultz, the billionaire chairman of Starbucks, publicly state that his own driving force was love. Hearing another highly successful executive use the word gave her permission to own it.
Wow, representation matters, even in corporate values.
Completely. And once she brought love to her board, the company transformed. They shifted resources toward projects the team actually cared deeply about, and the revenue naturally followed the passion.
So the internal resistance is tough, but then you also have the external enemies, the people who actively try to talk you out of your vision. The book calls them the little man.
Yes, the little man is that person standing on the sidelines casting doubt just because your vision doesn't fit the statistical average.
So let's bring it back to Evan Carmichael. He spent 5 months pouring his heart into this high-quality motivational video. The final cut was 6 minutes and 3 seconds long. He shows it to a video publicity expert named Harry.
Harry the Dream Killer.
Exactly. And Harry just eviscerates him. He says no video should be 6 minutes. The average length of a top video on the internet is 2 minutes and 54 seconds. Please tell me you actually understand how the internet works. Harry is the ultimate little man.
The temptation there is to just chop the video in half to please the expert, right?
Yeah.
But Evan's word was believe. He believed in the message, and he believed in the format. So he ignored Harry, published the 6-minute video, and it generated over 1 million views.
You really have to protect your core value from people who desperately want to shrink it down to a comfortable size. But wait, let me push back here.
Sure.
What if someone listening right now just wants to get out of debt or, get rich? If I am the person sitting at my parents' house making $300 a month and eating canned beans, I don't care about a deep philosophical core value. I don't care about joy or love. I care about making rent. Why can't my word just be money or profit?
It is incredibly tempting to think that way when you are in pure survival mode. But money is a tool. It is a byproduct. It is never a driver.
Never.
Never. If money is your only goal, you will inevitably quit when the process becomes painful, and building anything meaningful is always painful. The actual word isn't money. It's what the money buys you.
So you have to look at the layer beneath the cash.
Precisely. Why are you desperate for that money? Is it because you want the freedom to travel the world at a moment's notice? Then your core word is adventure. Is it because you never want to experience the anxiety of an eviction notice again?
Then your word is security.
Exactly. If you build your entire life and business around achieving adventure or security, you will generate the relentless passion required to create the value that actually results in a massive payday. Money won't get you out of bed on the worst days. Security will.
That distinction changes everything. Okay, so you've beaten the internal resistance, you've ignored the little man, and you've realized your word is the driver beneath the money. Now you have to take this word and forge a movement. You project it outward. To do that, the source material says you need 3 elements: a tribe, an enemy, and symbols.
Starting with the tribe. A movement requires followers, but more importantly, it requires naming those followers. Giving a tribe a name provides them with an identity. It makes them feel like they are part of an exclusive club.
Like the Hunger Games. The franchise went on Facebook and directly asked the fans what they wanted to be called. The fans chose tributes. It instantly unified millions of people. But what happens when you don't recognize your tribe? Look at Crystal Champagne.
Oh, Crystal is a masterclass in corporate arrogance. Throughout the 90s and early 2000s, Crystal was the ultimate status symbol in the hip-hop community. Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac, they were constantly rapping about it, handing the brand millions of dollars in free, highly influential advertising.
But then a reporter asked the managing director of Crystal what he thought about the hip-hop community making his luxury drink the center of their culture. And the director basically called it unwelcome attention.
Yeah, he said something like, "What can we do? We can't forbid them from buying it."
He completely insulted his most passionate vocal tribe, and the backlash was instantaneous. Jay-Z called for a massive boycott, pulled Crystal from all his clubs, and started promoting a completely unknown champagne called Armand de Brignac.
Better known as Ace of Spades.
Right. He literally manifested a massive competitor out of thin air just because Crystal rejected their own people. Jay-Z actually ended up buying the Ace of Spades brand. You must claim your tribe. But every movement also needs a Goliath. You need an enemy.
Having an enemy acts as a powerful catalyst. It clarifies what you stand for by highlighting what you stand against. Big Ben and Jerry's in the 1980s. They were just two hippies trying to build a fun, community-focused business. Pillsbury, the massive corporation that owned Häagen-Dazs, tried to crush them.
Yeah, Pillsbury told all their Boston distributors, if you put Ben & Jerry's on your trucks, you lose Häagen-Dazs.
The total distribution monopoly. And Ben & Jerry's had zero legal budget to fight this.
Yeah.
So they got creative. They launched the What's the Doughboy Afraid Of campaign.
That is so good.
They plastered it on buses. They flew banner planes over sporting events. Jerry even stood outside Pillsbury headquarters all by himself, handing out pamphlets.
And didn't they print a phone number on their pints?
They did. A 1-800 number on every single pint of ice cream, asking their tribe to call in and help two Vermont hippies fight a faceless corporate giant. The public pressure became overwhelming, and Pillsbury was forced to back down. Identifying the doughboy as the enemy fueled their incredible national expansion.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. A one-word movement isn't just about PR battles and clever marketing campaigns. It has to be felt on a sensory level. We're talking about sensory branding specifically, audio branding.
How do you make someone physically hear a concept like trust or innovation?
Exactly. Intel faced this exact problem in 1994. They were a component manufacturer, but they wanted to market their computer chips directly to consumers. They needed a way to convey reliability and technological magic instantly, so they hired a composer named Walter Wurdzowa to create a sound.
And Wurdzowa spent a frustrating weekend in his studio getting absolutely nowhere until he finally just sang the words Intel inside out loud to himself.
The rhythm of those words birthed the Intel bong, that iconic 3-second, 5-note jingle.
The psychology behind why that 3-second clip works is absolutely brilliant. Audio branding completely bypasses the logical, analytical part of the brain. When you read text, you process it critically. But when you hear a specific melody, it triggers the auditory cortex and taps directly into the limbic system, which controls emotion and memory.
So it's a shortcut.
Exactly. That 5-note jingle instantly anchors a feeling of trust and familiarity before the consumer even has time to think. It became one of the most played pieces of music in human history, building hundreds of millions of dollars in brand equity.
But having a great word, a loyal tribe, and a brilliant neurological audio hack means absolutely nothing if the people inside your building don't actually believe in the mission.
That's the truth.
If your internal company culture doesn't match your external marketing, the whole thing collapses. Which brings us to how this one word changes the way you hire.
The traditional hiring process is profoundly broken. You post a generic job description, you get flooded with hundreds of identical keyword-stuffed resumes, you conduct interviews where candidates just feed you rehearsed answers, and you end up hiring someone who disrupts your entire culture.
Evan Carmichael used his word believe to completely hack this process. When he posts a job ad, he writes it as one massive, ugly, completely unformatted paragraph.
Just a wall of text.
Yes. He intentionally makes it a nightmare to weed people out. And buried deep in the middle of this block of text is a hidden instruction. He tells them, tell me my Twitter follower count.
It's an incredibly effective filter. 80% of applicants are just blasting their resumes out without reading the details, so they miss the instruction and are instantly rejected.
Just automatically gone.
Yep. Another group will email him asking, what is your Twitter handle? And if they lack the resourcefulness to just search for him, they're rejected. He repels the wrong people before he even speaks a word to them. And he doesn't even do traditional interviews. He pays them for a trial project to see their actual work ethic.
Richard Sheridan at Menlo Innovations takes a similar approach for his word, joy. They completely ignore resumes. They bring 30 candidates into a room for an extreme interview.
Oh, this is intense.
They pair 2 candidates up, hand them a single pencil, and the instructions are shocking. Your only goal today is to help the other person get a second interview.
That completely shatters the hyper-competitive, cutthroat mentality that plagues the tech industry. If your core value is joy, you cannot afford to hire someone who's entirely self-centered, no matter how talented they are.
That makes total sense.
True cultural alignment means you must be willing to repel the wrong people just as aggressively as you attract the right ones. If you try to appeal to everyone, you end up standing for absolutely nothing.
So, whether you are prepping for a massive boardroom presentation, launching a side hustle from your kitchen table, or just trying to navigate the daily chaos of your life, identifying your one word is the ultimate filter for your decision-making. It tells you what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to aggressively say no to.
But there is a vital warning attached to this.
Yeah.
You can't just pick a word, slap it on a wall, and expect it to do the heavy lifting. You have to obsessively protect it through your actions.
Like Maytag.
Consider Maytag. For decades, they completely owned the word dependable. In 1967, they introduced the old, lonely repairman character, the joke being that Maytag appliances never break, so the repairman has nothing to do.
It was a brilliant campaign that worked beautifully, but then in 1997 they released the Neptune washer. Customers quickly dubbed it the Stink-O-Matic because a design flaw caused mold, making clothes smell terrible.
And instead of fixing it immediately to protect their word, Maytag ignored the complaints. The internet amplified the outrage. It led to a massive class action lawsuit with over $33 million in payouts. Their decades-old reputation for dependability was absolutely decimated, and they were eventually bought out by Whirlpool. The lesson is undeniable. If your actions stop aligning with your one word, the market will severely punish you.
So you don't end up crying into a bowl of canned beans, wondering where it all went wrong. To leave you with something to chew on today, consider a thought experiment used by Roberto Blake. He's a graphic designer who was struggling to prioritize his dreams until a terrifying mugging put his mortality into sharp perspective.
That will definitely wake you up.
Definitely. He realized he needed a true north, and he found his word. Awesome. Imagine you are locked in a room for all eternity. If you could only have one single word painted on the wall of that room to keep you sane, what would it be?
That is the very essence of Nathi Satan, knowing yourself at the absolute deepest level.
Once you figure out what that word is for you, let it dictate the very next decision you make today.